Hey everyone, it's Ben with AWKWA, Arizona Windsurfing, Kiteboarding, and Wingfoiling Association. Do look us up. Feel free to join us on Facebook if you have not done so already. Anyways, yesterday I took delivery of the ZETTI Airship inflatable wingfoil board, and I'm very excited to report that we have a very good forecast all day today, and today will be the actual test run or shakedown cruise of the airship in the 5.3 110 liter format. So first off, let's talk about what I really liked about this product. First of all, the package that it comes in, the carrying case, it packs up really compact. So it's kind of more along the lines of, I guess, what some manufacturers like say Nash comes to mind in terms of the newer version of their inflatable are doing. It's more rectangular. It fits into a case, which I think is more conducive to travel. I also really like the carbon plate. It is fairly generous, and also especially the markings on the mast tracks to indicate positioning. I also liked how they had the D-rings for leash, as well as, in my case, anchorage or mooring attachments. I like how they had them both on the nose as well as in the tail where they usually are. Also, with respect to foot straps, I also appreciated how there were foot strap inserts, which I know can add cost to the product. I don't particularly use foot straps, but I thought it was a nice detail and touch. I also thought the EVA decking coverage was very plentiful, and I felt it was very comfortable and had a really nice tack to it without being, unnecessarily abrasive. The other thing I think ZETTI made a good decision on was the general shape of the board. I like how they opted for a longer profile shape to the board, which I felt helped it get up to speed and plane a little quicker, and consequently it helps get you up into the air that much faster. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the negatives, or what might be perceived as negatives. First of all, it doesn't lack a lot of the, I guess, design feature bells and whistles that you might see from a few of the other makers like Fanatic or Starboard or JP. But for example, there's no silicone railing on the edges, on the underside rails, or on the tail to supposedly help, allow the board to plane faster and release that much quicker, I guess. There was also, I was kind of surprised there was no kick pad on the very back of the topside decking, which some riders like to have. I don't particularly. I'm short, so my foot rarely, if ever, gets that far. My back foot rarely, if ever, gets that far back. So none of these things particularly bothered me as part of the test and in my riding on this day. But to some of you who are in the market for an inflatable, or maybe shopping for a new inflatable, I don't know. Those are factors to consider. Also, in the interest of time, I did not inflate the board using the pump that was included. I actually inflated it using an electric pump the night before, and actually carried it fully inflated to the lake that day with me. And so it was only inflated at, kind of closer to the low end of the recommended range. So it was probably around 15.5 to 16 or so at best. As opposed to the maximum recommended, which is at 20 psi, which is where I probably would have almost certainly wanted to have it on this particular day. Okay, so for this test, I opted for the Slingshot Quantum 100, which is 1,700 approximately square centimeters. So I ended up opting for a hydrofoil, which I have, that kind of closely approximated both the surface area as well as the shape, the moderate high aspect shape of the 1,800 square centimeter coast. So once I was up on foil and flying around, I got to tell you that I did not really feel much of a measurable difference between the airship inflatable and a regular hard or glass or composite board. So even so, it's like, when you're up, you don't really feel much difference. At the end of the day, you're still just flying the foil, right? It was, if I did feel it at all, it was probably during transitions when I would or my poor transitions when I was, either too much on rail and it would catch, or even when I was just off foil and trying to do a foot switch or something like that. You definitely feel a little bit more, I guess, sponginess is kind of the way I would describe it. I mean, it's nothing fatal. It's just, it's just a different feel. Now, to an absolute beginner who's falling a lot and particularly probably falling on their board, it's probably going to be a nice feature actually, and not necessarily a bug. Another thing is, one of the things you hear as a knock on the inflatables, one of quite a few knocks, I guess, on inflatables, is that when you touch down, whether in transitions or you just hit a lull or something like that, when you hit the water, the board, just like when you're trying to release and get on foil, it tends to stick, and boom, you're instantly down because you can't recover from it. And I didn't really find that to be the case with the ZETTI Airship. Maybe it's kind of just the right amount of rocker they put in or selected as part of the design. But yeah, I mean, I touched down a number of times, but in almost all cases was able to bounce off and get back up onto foil again. If anything, I think the kind of the bulbous, I'll describe it as, nose makes it actually easier, I think, to bounce off of the water. So will the ZETTI Airship become my new frontline board and a total replacement for all of my hard or composite boards? No. However, if you are a beginning wingfoiler or are just in the market for a nice quality inflatable wing board to start on at a reasonable price, and you don't need all the particular bells and whistles that come with some of the other manufacturers' designs, then it's certainly worth taking a look at ZETTI and its airship. The three things I always point out to when it comes to inflatables, or the advantages, are durability, portability, and the ability to travel with it. And certainly the ZETTI Airship, I feel, ticks off or checks off all three of these boxes. The compactness of the board is in fact one of the best that I've seen in all of the various inflatables I've either owned or have tried. So in sum, I mean, I will definitely hang on to the board. If anything, just to kind of let friends or other of our members borrow it, as well as to teach our newer members who are interested in wing foiling. Particularly, as you can see in some of these scenes where we ride here in the Sonoran Desert, it is very inhospitable in terms of to your board, or to a composite or a hard board. And so with the inflatable, you can lend it out. You don't need to worry about friends having accidents with it, dropping it, banging it on, the rocks or cars or other boards or anything like that. it really gives you that additional peace of mind for sure. So just to be clear, I am not affiliated with or do I represent ZETTI at all. However, I will go ahead and leave a link in their to their site in the description below, in case you want to check them out further and see the various models that they are offering, and perhaps even if you're interested in buying one. And folks, that is my walkthrough and field test review of the ZETTI Airship, 5'3", 110 liters. If you found this video helpful or useful, I sure would appreciate it if you'd hit like to this video below and subscribe to our channel. It's sort of wingfoiling hiatus season for me at this point in time, or at least will be for at least the next probably month or two. So I do plan on uploading a lot more great content, gear reviews, tutorials, how-to videos, and the like very soon. So I appreciate you bearing with me as I have been busy with, well, life and work. Alright guys, that's all I've got. Again, this is Ben with AWKWA, and as always, wishing you good winds and happy sailing.